Hey friends, it's Thomas here. So today I'm gonna give you my impression on the Tekton Double Impact. Now this is not a review because I just spent a few hours with it and I didn't live with it. So it won't be fair for me to review the speakers based on a few hours listening. What I'm gonna try to attempt to do in this video is try to explain why some people will sell their $20,000-$30,000 speaker and replace it with this $4,000 or $5,000 speaker. So I'm going to try to do that instead. If you want a proper review, go check out the YouTube channel, Zero Fidelity. Sean made a video on the Double Impact and it's spot on. I cannot do better. I looked at the video, I'm like, yep, he got everything right. So there's no point for me to create another video on it. Now, Zero Fidelity is the YouTube channel that actually inspired me to make my channel. So if you don't know this channel, go check it out. Sean is really good at talking about stereo, and I learned a lot from his channel. So I'll put the link to his channel in the description. And once you finish watching that video, come back, and then yeah, we'll continue from there. So I was very excited when I got the email from my friend telling me that he bought the Tekton Double Impact. I always wanted to get that speaker because of all the hype around it. People replaced their high-end speaker with it. And my friend here, he owned a lot of speakers, as many as I had. And some speakers he owned, the KEF Q900, the Focus, Verity Audio, Fidelo. That's a $10,000 speaker. You have the Gem Katana, that's a $15,000 speaker. And now he picked this one up. It's about $4,000 or $5,000 on the Canadian market. Maybe a bit more with the custom and shipping and so forth. But to drop from a $15,000 speaker to a $10,000 Fidelo, and now to drop even further, it has to be really good for him to go buy it. Now, he's also the friend who bought the Lyngdorf. So it might seem like us gang want to spend more and more money on audio equipment. It's actually not true. What we're trying to do is to spend the least possible. So that's why we're always trying to find these gem, hoping to get a lot of performance for the price. And that's why for him, he downgraded from a $16,000 setup to a $10,000 setup, because we're trying to get as much performance as possible for the least money possible. So all I can do is guess why people would sell their high-end speaker to replace with the Tekton. But I'll walk you through my logic here, okay? So the first second when I sat down and I listened to it, my first reaction was, wow, these speakers have really big soundstage. The bass is really powerful. They go very low. The vocals are very natural sounding. It's a neutral speaker. It has a lot of details. These speakers disappear easily, which is quite impressive. Maybe partially also it has to do with my friend's room. He has a lot of diffusion panels, bass traps, and absorption panel and so forth. The room is treated. So maybe with a combination of everything and the fact that he used Room Perfect with the Lyngdorf, these speakers do disappear easily. The only difference between what I found and what Sean said in his video is that the version that we have here has pretty good off-axis response. So overall, I was really impressed with the speaker. But that doesn't explain why people would sell their high-end speakers for it, right? So I just told you, lots of detail. Well, this one has lots of detail. Natural sounding, mid-range, neutral. I mean, there's a lot of speaker that does that. Good bass, yeah, a lot of speaker does that. But why? So after spending a few minutes with it, I realized it doesn't have that high-end sound that I'm used to in the more expensive speakers. I mean, how do you define high-end sound? I mean, the definition is so broad and it's different for everybody. For me, it's exaggerated sound, high-end sound. It's super sound. For example, like, do you really hear the lips of a singer moving if the singer is in the room? It doesn't make sense, right? the pin dropping on the floor. I mean, you don't hear stuff like that in real life. The pressure, the chest pounding pressure from a drum. I mean, if a drum is in the room at the back there, I'm not going to feel that pressure on me. But with speakers, we feel it. And as an audiophile, I like that. But obviously, I know that it's not realistic. And yet, it's something that I'm looking for when I buy a speaker, right? So that's why for me, audiophile, it's a bit nuts, right? We spend thousands of dollars on speaker cable just to improve it by like 0.01% so I can hear the saliva of the singer better. It's ridiculous. In fact, my wife jokes about it all the time, you know? You guys don't listen to music. You listen to the saliva of the singer. That's why. Anyway, so the Tekton is opposite. It's not like that. It's, when I say it's natural sounding, it's like, imagine your friend's sitting next to you and you're talking to your friend. That's how it sounds like. It's natural, the voice. And that's very unique to this speaker. I've gone through maybe 40 speakers now, 35, 40. I don't think I heard it like this, the way the voice is presented. So that's why it's really enjoyable. Okay, so next, the Tekton is a neutral sounding speaker. So neutral sounding, let's put it this way. Maybe let's not use the word neutral sounding. Let's use the word Thomas neutral sounding. That's my definition of it. Because I asked my friend this question. My friend here, he has experience playing in a band, so he knows how instruments are supposed to sound. That's why when I brought the Bucar S300 to his home, he was able to tell me right away, oh, this is a neutral sounding speaker. So I asked him, how can you tell a speaker is neutral sounding? And he say, well, the drum sounds like a drum, the violin sounds like a violin. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't help me, right? Because, you know, it's not like I heard a real violin before all the time, or, you know, a guitar all the time. It's like, it doesn't help me. So one way he said you can start with is listen to the age of the singer. If the singer is 30 years old, she should sound like a 30-year-old singer. You might think, oh, okay, does that even make sense? I've gone through a lot of speakers, and that's one thing I noticed, right? If you take, let's say, the Totem Signature one, that's a very bright and lively speaker, a bit like the Kevs and the Focal. And you can tell, if you put a soundtrack of a singer that's 30 years old on it, it sounds like the singer is about 26, 25. And if you put it on a different speaker, you say, okay, that singer sounds like 30 years old. So these Tekton are very good at that. In that sense, it gets it right. So that's why my friend here, who has 30, 40 years of experience, he loves it. He said, wow, this is incredible. And the other thing is that speakers tend to have a certain color, right? Meaning that if a speaker sounds really good tuned for a guitar, one of the problems is that a lot of other instruments get biased or get skewed towards this kind of sound. So it sounds great for a guitar, but other instruments don't sound as the way it should be. I guess that's one way of putting it. And my musician friend here mentioned that, you know, these speakers, each instrument, they don't interfere with each other. They sound exactly the way they are supposed to, and that's why it's very appealing to him. Okay, so I say, okay, I can understand that. And I have to say, I'm very impressed with the vocals. That naturalness. When I heard Spanish Harlem on it, it's very different than all the other speakers I've heard before. It sounds effortless. Unlike my Dying Audio S5.4, for example, a lot of speakers I buy are very difficult to drive. That's why I always need these 300 watts, 400 watts amp to drive them. And even then, it's like it's forcing sound out of the speaker, while these Tekton, it just flows. And that's why it makes you want to dance when you listen to these kind of speaker. And some soundtrack is like you're floating in air. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but it really, it's like but it does really make you feel relaxed. It's like giving you a massage. It's not like these kind of speaker. These are what I call these audiophile speakers, where you can really analyze the song, you can really pick apart the song, but you get very tired because you're so focused in listening to all the details, as opposed to the Tekton, which has a lot of detail, by the way, because I was really paying attention to that. But the presentation is just different. It's just more relaxing. So putting the relaxing part aside, putting the fact that it has big soundstage and amazing bass, just the fact that it sounds so natural, I think that's why people would give up their high-end speakers for it, because it's very unique, this presentation. I mean, this friend of mine who's really impressed by these speakers, I mean, he has a lot of experience. He's built many systems. If you adjust it for inflation, they're about 100,000. Many of them he built. He's gone through all the high-end gears possible. Well, you know what I mean? For him, what's most important is that things sound natural, and that's why for him the Tekton is out of all the hundreds of systems he listened to, he said it's one of the most enjoyable systems he has come across. So that's why I say, well, okay, if if you were shopping for a high-end speaker, then you would choose this Tekton over another $10,000-$20,000 speaker. Okay, it will make sense. Oh, by the way, talking about the Bukhara S300, because I brought it over, my friend here also certified that it's a good speaker. Yes, when we're switching between the Tekton and the S300, the Tekton definitely wins in terms of power, in terms of bass. Well, it's normal, right? Even these KEF cannot compete, or not many of my speakers can compete with the Tekton when it comes to bass. In terms of vocals, it depends on your taste. I thought it was interesting. Okay, so another friend of mine certifying the S300. I would say most people will like the Tekton because it has everything. It has very detailed high. You hear the sparkles. Okay, it doesn't sparkle like these KEF, but it's good enough. The details are all there. It's not like you're listening to a vintage speaker, although it has that kind of feel, okay? But it has fantastic mid-range, and it has very powerful bass. I mean, these are the three things that most people look for, right? And the fact that these speakers disappear easily. I don't know why. They're humongous, but they disappear. And finally, they sound effortless, right? So I would say most people would like it. As for myself, though, my friend correctly pointed out that I would be okay with it for a while, but eventually I'll be wanting to come back to the higher resolution speakers. I'll start missing that. Because I'm not there yet in my audio journey, that I'm ready to settle for these kind of speaker. Maybe in the future, because as we get older and older, our tastes change. So, but for now, I'm still looking more for these kind of more lively presentation. I don't look for accuracy. I look for what's more pleasing to my ears. Keep in mind that I did not spend enough time with these speakers. So my opinion might change if I try for a long time. I can 100% appreciate these speakers. They sound really, really good. And I can understand for many people, these are like the ultimate speaker. Oh, I forgot to mention about this CD. I'm going to put up the screen. We were testing the speaker with this CD. A lot of you might know about this CD. It's a standard audiophile reference CD to test speakers. Somebody uploaded it on YouTube. You can just do a search on it and try on your speaker. So what these Tekton do, they're fantastic with this CD. It creates you can sense the size of the church and the scale of it. And like little speakers can't do it. You need these big speakers. And my friend who owns the speaker told me, like, there's some CD that he tried. The Tekton does the best, even compared to his $15,000 speakers. Doesn't matter. The Tekton is the best for certain CD. And I have to say, for this CD here, it was breathtaking. It was amazing. Now, the one thing I do wish these speakers have more, it's the sound stage is not deep enough. I mentioned that to my friend later on, and he said, yeah, maybe it's the speaker placement. Maybe he can play with it to get a deeper sound stage. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up at this point. As I said, I was just trying to figure out why people would sell their expensive speaker for this one. It's not a review. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Now for the sound demo, I recorded a clip with Room Perfect on and Room Perfect off with the Lyngdorf. See, the Lyngdorf has DSP built in. Once you turn it on, it adjusts, it does this voodoo magic, and it's supposed to sound better. At my friend's place, we didn't hear that much of a difference. All we heard, I felt the bass was different once it's turned on. And my friend pointed out that yes, it's more tight when you turn on the DSP. However, he did mention that when he did the calibration, it's not 100% correct, because there's, anyway, he explained to me what the problem was, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I still did record it, but I'm not sure it's worth to put it up. Now, if you really guys want a sound clip, I can see if it's worth putting it up. I'll listen to it later on. But you have to vote for it. 100 people vote yes in the comment section here, I will put it up. If I get 100 votes saying no, then that's it. I skip the sound demo and I go to the next video. I'll check it out. I'll check it out after a week, and that's where I close the poll. So just put a little comment, sound demo yes. So put whatever comment you want, and then please, then just add sound demo yes or no. All right. So guys, till next time.